Welcome into Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Today on the show, I say let Patterson return if that's what he wants to do. A name linked to the Braves for a trade rumor, and I disagree with Kirby. We'll talk about all that next. It's Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into a hump day edition of Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head over to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser. When you get there, hit that subscribe button. Free and available too on all your favorite podcast platforms. Download us today. Leave us a 5-star review. And of course, you can hit me up on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Falcons training camp opened yesterday. Veterans reported. Several guys speaking to the media yesterday. One guy who was there, excited, ready to go, talked about how much he loved Atlanta and was talking to the media was Cordarrelle Patterson, who I thought it was interesting, one of the things that he said last year. He said that he's been lobbying multiple times this offseason to special teams coordinator Marquise Williams. Now, I don't think this is really tongue-in-cheek after I heard the clips and everything like that, talking about, quote, we talked like the whole offseason every 2 weeks, every other week, texting, calling. Talked to him 2 days ago and told him, listen, I'm going to be back there now. I don't know how much you want me to be back there, but I've got to be back there. Like I said, I got a record to break. Now, what he's talking about is the fact that he is trying to set the all-time kickoff return touchdown record, right now tied with the most of all time. And he said, when asked about being back there for kick returns, it's got to be, I've got a record to break, man. I need one more before I can hang it up and be back there. If I get one more, I'll stop doing it. Now, here's the thing. I know Patterson is a key component to their offense and probably right now their lead running back. But I'm all about special teams. And if Patterson wants to run kicks back, that's awesome. I think part of, in rethinking some of this, part of why Avery Williams got moved to the running back position isn't just the roster spot. It's a matter of being in the same room as Cordarrelle Patterson and learning about the return game from him, literally being in that same room. So when the running backs all get together, he's in that room. Instead of being off in the cornerback or the defensive back room and this, that, and the other, here's a guy who has an opportunity to be right in the room with Patterson and learn directly from him. And I like Avery Williams a lot. The kid they drafted out of Boise State last year became their return guy, right? I like him a lot. But I like the idea of having Cordarrelle Patterson back there. If he wants to run kicks back, brother, who's this team right now to say no? This team has to find everything it can to gain an advantage. I know this sounds like a very simple statistic, right? But if you look at the really good teams in the NFL and you look at one thing about them, they all have good starting field position. There's a big difference between teams who start at the 30 and beyond and who start below the 30-yard line for average starting field position. A lot of playoff teams you find are 30 and above. Now, look, I'm not saying the Falcons are a playoff team or this, any other, but when you talk about trying to find an advantage in a game and trying to make it easier for your offense and shorten up the field, anything you can do for that, for this club, especially after the numbers we talked about yesterday with the red zone, I'm all for. Now, I'm going to talk about another former Falcon that made a difference in special teams in just a second, but let me talk first about my friends over at BetOnline.net. Baseball is cranked up. We're in the quote-unquote second half of the season. We're headed toward pennant races, baseball season cranking up. Don't look now, but the Hall of Fame game this weekend, then NFL preseason and regular season right around the corner, boxing, golf, MMA. BetOnline.net is the fastest, easiest way to find all of your betting needs and get in on the action. Your number one online source for odds, lines, games, whatever you need. Baseball, NFL, NBA, esports, even golf. You can bet on everything there. Continues to be your top online resource for all your sports wagering information. You need live in-game betting. You want scores. You want podcast information. They have you covered on everything today. So head over to betonline.net today. Use your mobile device. Learn more about what's happening over there. Betonline.net is where the game starts. Now, go back a few years ago, and because it's been a very mixed bag in the special teams department for the Atlanta Falcons. Go back to when this team had Devin Hester. Remember Devin Hester here for the Falcons and what a dynamic presence that he was? Here is reality. Devin Hester won football games as a return guy for the Falcons. He was a definite component and a key factor in why the Falcons won games because of his special teams play. I know he was a receiver and he had the one game where he caught the big touchdown. I get all that. But his ability to change up the direction of the field and put that threat and make a big presence in the return, he won them games. He won them games as a return guy. I don't care that we're in this new age of the NFL of, concussions, and we're worried about, hitting too much, and we're trying to minimize returns, this, that, and the other. Brother, you don't need but one good return in a game to change the dynamic of it. You don't need but one good kickoff return to flip the field and change up field position in a game that could be a slugfest with a couple of teams. So if Cordarrelle Patterson wants to get back there and return kicks, let him. I understand it puts him at more risk and blah, blah, blah. With all due respect, okay? Did you see USA Today put out their predicted finishes for the NFL? And the Falcons were 2-15, and the Vegas betting lines only have them at 4.5. Can I tell you, with all due respect, if you're going to try to win football games and you're going to try to do anything this season, you got to pull out every gimmick that you can, right? You got to go under the ring and grab the sledgehammer or grab the folding chair or grab the fire hydrant or fire extinguisher. I said not fire hydrant, fire extinguisher. Go grab whatever. Grab the cookie sheets. Grab whatever gimmick you need to grab to help you win. So if that's what Patterson wants to do, with all due respect to Arthur Smith, I understand he's your lead back. Okay. Maybe he's got to take a couple plays off here and there. Let him. I'm all for having a more dynamic special teams. I like Avery Williams. I like the combination of putting both those guys back there for kickoff return. I'm all for it. And listen, I love the idea of Avery Williams learning from this guy. And I love the fact that Patterson still has that passion and fire for playing special teams. Look, a lot of times when rookies come into the league, the way you make your bones early on is being a special teams player. Not a return guy, but being on special teams and learning to play there. Personally, I think when all is said and done, that's where Troy Anderson, one of their second-round picks, is going to end up as being or not second-round pick, he'd be third-round pick, but he's going to end up being a special teams guy when all is said and done. To start with, he'll be a linebacker at some point, but my point is he'll make his bones early on special teams. So I love the fact that Patterson has come out and said, hey, yeah, I want to break the record. You know what that probably means? I know some folks are going to like this. That means he's probably going to get overly aggressive. And you know what? Being overly aggressive in kickoff return, I'm all for that. There used to be a time when there was a premium on punt and kick return guys, when you had to have one of those dynamic guys. And I get it. The game has changed. We're trying to take away kickoffs, CTE. I get all of the things and factors that bubble up around it. But, brother, let me have a guy who wants to return kicks. Let me have Patterson back there. I'll figure it all out from there. Give me that added field position. Give me that home run threat. And who knows? He runs a kickoff back. You may, win a game just because of that, just like you did with Devin Hester back in the old days. All right, when we come back, one name that's rumored to head to the Atlanta Braves that I like. I'm all for. It's sort of what we talked about. It is Jon Chuckery. It's hitting hard here on Locked On Sports Atlanta.